Naturally Glam TV. It's your girl Jonna, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips on how you can grow your Periscope following and increase the views on your scopes. So for you guys that don't know what Periscope is, definitely check out my post on gorgeousandgray.com where I go all into detail about what Periscope is and how you can use it. It's an amazing live streaming app that allows you to broadcast live from wherever you are, and it also allows you to watch other people who are using the app live as they broadcast what's going on with their lives. And you can comment and give hearts, and if you don't know what any of that means, you definitely need to go check out the app. The app was actually released for iPhones back in March, and then in May it was released for Android devices. So now it's really booming because everyone has access to it, and it's really starting to take off as a great platform. It's already seen 3 million views, and it's only been around for 3 months. So it's really becoming a popular app, but people are kind of wondering, if I want to get on there, how am I going to get followers, and how am I going to get people to actually watch my videos? So I'm going to give you guys 5 tips on how you can increase your followers and how you can get people to watch your scopes when you go live. So tip number 1 is to watch scopes and to engage. So before you even start worrying about your own scope and getting people to watch the scope, first thing you want to do is just create your account and start watching other scopes and then engage. You can watch videos like this or videos right on scope that give you some best practices on how to actually use the app, and make sure you read up on how to use the app in the Android device and on the iPhone, because it is 2 totally different apps. There's different looks and there's different feels, and so you want to make sure you understand how to use the app not only in the device you have but in the opposite device. A way to engage while you're watching the scope is to be a wingman to the person that is scoping live, because that person cannot type, they can only talk. If they mention a website, if they mention a Twitter handle, an Instagram handle, or if they're mentioning certain points and you think that there's something that people will want to see typed out, go ahead and type that out. If this person who's doing the scope says, hey, can somebody type out the main points for me, definitely offer to do that. And that's a great way for people to see your name, see you engaging, and that may encourage them to want to follow you. When you're watching the scope and when you're wanting to engage, there are some don'ts. And one of those don'ts is that you want to add to the conversation, but you don't want to take over the scope. So if someone is doing the scope broadcast and they're giving tips, what you don't want to do is start giving your own tips. This is not the time for spamming anybody's scope. It's not classy. It's very, people are generally offended. So don't try to jump on someone else's scope and take over, but add to the conversation. If they make a point and you want to kind of say something that's going to piggyback off of that point, definitely add to the conversation. People really appreciate that. And then that also shows you to the other people who are in the scope looking at the chat that you actually have some knowledge about what is being discussed, and they may want to follow you. When the person that's doing the scope sees that you're not trying to take over their scope, but that you're adding to the conversation, they may shout you out. They may thank you, and that shout out may result in people want to follow you. You don't want to spam the scope by sharing your own tips, your own information, your own website, and things like that. When you go to someone else's scope and you start talking about your own information, you start promoting, it's almost like going to somebody else's house and then having your own party. It's kind of rude. And unless the scoper gives you permission to do so, you should definitely refrain from doing it. Tip number 2 for how to grow your followers is to let your followers know that you're on Periscope. Like here, I'm doing this YouTube video. I'm letting you guys know, hey, I'm on Periscope. My channel is Naturally Glam TV over on Periscope. You can also create some sort of graphic that you can post on your other social media accounts, that you can post on your blog to let people know, hey, I'm on Periscope and here is my handle. Download the app and come follow me. I'll put up an example of my image that I use on Instagram, and this has really helped me to gain followers. And I also use this image to let people know when I'm actually live. So I use this image just to let people know I have an account, and then I also use this image when I'm about to go live, so that people know exactly where to find me. Some people actually create specific images for each time they go live, and that's great too. Me just having the one image, it just kind of made it easy for me to go ahead and get it out there, and I don't have to worry about creating new images every time I go live. So the third tip to increase your followers and increase your views is to be respectful of fellow scopers. With Periscope, just like any other social media, typically people in your same field, you may already be following them. You may already have relationships with them. You already may know of them. So the same thing goes with Periscope. I have ladies that are in my circle, people that I know support me. I support them. And so what I don't want to do is go live and broadcast at a time when I know that they already are going to be having a broadcast. For example, the Trendy Socialite, at Trendy Socialite on Periscope, she does a scope every night, Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. So it would not make sense for me to also go live at 10 o'clock. Why? Because number one, I want to support her in her scope. And then the other thing is, if I want her to support me, how can she support me and share that I'm live with her followers if she's in the midst of a scope herself? So definitely respect the times that you already know other people are scoping. Before you go live, check out Periscope. See, is anybody in my circle live right now before I go ahead and start scoping? If so, you may want to wait until another time. If you know someone in your circle has a specific time, consider doing your scope maybe 30 minutes to an hour prior to it, and then pay it forward and let everybody know that you're about to join this particular scope and that they should join it too. So that's a great way to get support, build camaraderie, up your followers and up your views, because you're not competing with people who are in your circle who would love to send followers and send viewers your way. My fourth tip is to come up with a real strategy for Periscope. Decide what it is that you're going to use it for. If you just want to use it for personal things, that's one thing. Do that. If you want to use it for a little bit of both, a little bit of personal and a little bit of business, that's fine. Or if you want to use it strictly as a business tool, that's fine. But definitely come up with a strategy for how you're going to use it, and that will help you be more focused. The same sort of principles apply with Periscope as they do with YouTube, as far as increasing followers and increasing views. And that is to have a plan, maybe even come up with a schedule so people kind of know that you are go live around this day, around this time, every time, and people know to come looking for you. Also, when you kind of have a plan, it helps you better plan what you're going to title the scope, which helps with people wanting to be interested in what it is you're going to talk about and actually check it out and view it. Again, you don't have to do it all planned. You don't have to do it all structured. You don't have to do that. But if people can kind of know that they can count on you, maybe on a certain day of the week or a certain time of the day is when you generally scope, and you can kind of put that out there, that can be a huge help to get the engagement and the followers that you're looking for. And the fifth tip for gaining followers and increasing your views on scopes is to be your best self on Periscope. Make sure everything is set up correctly. Make sure you have great lighting so your video comes in great. Make sure your Wi-Fi is great. You want to make sure you put your best foot forward. Even though it's a live streaming app and it's very fun and it's a lot of fun to kind of see people live and not necessarily so structured as with like a YouTube video with the editing and whatnot, still doesn't mean you don't want to put your best foot forward. Be your best self. Don't try to imitate and do what you see other people doing on Periscope, how they're talking, what they're saying. Some Periscopers will say, give me hearts, give me hearts, give me hearts. Or they may say, certain things that they may want you to do, or they may say, oh, I'm going for this heart goal or whatever. If that's not your thing, then you don't have to do that. Speak in your own voice, be genuine, be true to yourself. Me personally, that's not me. I don't have a heart goal per se. And whenever I do a scope, I'm not gonna ask for the viewers to help me get to a certain number of scopes. But I know other scopers that do, and that's fine, because that's what they're using the Periscope platform for. So do what's true to you. You don't want to watch scopes and you see how that person is saying things and you say, oh, that's what I gotta say it that too. I have to do it like that too. You don't. But make sure whatever you do is your best. You don't want to be somebody else, because everybody else is already taken. People join live stream because they want to see you and who you really are. And keep in mind that if people aren't seeing something that they're gonna really enjoy watching, they're just gonna click off. For example, there was someone who was doing a live scope and they were walking down the street while they were doing the scope. And the camera was jumping around. You really couldn't see what was going on. It just sounded like that crumble sound. It just sounded a mess. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to log off. Now I wanted to support the person, but I was like, I just can't take it. And so people are not going to stay on if it's a scope that they cannot see clearly, they can't hear clearly, it's dark or whatever. People are generally, they're not going to stay for a scope like that. So make sure when you do scope live that you aren't moving around, that you're able to hold the camera or your phone steady if that's what you're using to scope with. I hope that you guys found this video helpful if you're trying to figure out how to use Periscope for your blog, your brand. Definitely make sure you check me out on Periscope at Naturally Glam TV. I'd love to see you check in. If you found this video helpful, definitely share it. If you have questions or comments, leave them below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Talk to you guys later.